I did my presentation on the Rubik's Cube. So what is a Rubik's Cube? I have one here. It's a 3x3x3 cube, and it has 26 smaller cubes on it. They're all like connected on the inside, so it can turn like this. Every side can turn. And the object is to get every side with just one color on it. Rubik invented it, hence the name Rubik's Cube, although he actually called his first ones magic cubes. And he was a professor in Budapest actually, and also an inventor, and he actually made the cubes that he could help explain to his architecture students spatial relationships. And after he made it, I think he was the first one to solve it. I couldn't find anything about someone else solving it before him, but it actually took him over a month to solve it the first time after he made it. And here's just some fun facts from the book. By 1982, so that was just 5 years after he started selling it, 10 million had been sold just in Hungary, which is kind of weird because that was more than the population at that time. There are over 43 quintillion, as you can see here, possible arrangements of the cube. So for example, like this would be one of them, turn it once, that'd be another one of them, and only one of all those different configurations actually solves the cube. So if you had a cube that had each different configuration of it, you could stack them up, 250 of them, and cover the entire Earth. And if you line them all up just in a row, it would be over 250 light years long. So, you know, that's a lot of configurations. But really, you can actually solve it in just 20 moves from any spot. I have no idea how, but you can. And a guy named Thomas Rokicki proved that you could solve it in 22 moves in 2008, but then just 2 years later, some researchers were using computers and they proved that you could do it in just 20 moves. So, solving the cube, here's a quote from Rubik. If you're curious, you'll find the puzzles around you. If you're determined, you'll solve them. And what he was kind of saying with this was that, or another thing he was saying after this was, if you look at this, pretty much anyone can just look at this, and you know, if they're a little curious, they'll realize what you have to do. You know, you have to get all the colors on the same side, but you really have to be determined if you want to solve it. And only 6% of the world can actually solve the Rubik's Cube, and the fastest person ever to solve it is a guy named Mats Valk, and he did it in 5.55 seconds. And I'm actually going to solve for you right now, just so you can kind of see it happen. I obviously can't do it that fast, but yeah, here, I'll start now. So what I do first is I get one side to have all the same colors. So right now I'm working on the green side. And then as I solve that side, I also solve the first row. As you see, I have one side and then I have the first row. So then I get the next row after that.
So what are you thinking while you're doing this?
There's a bunch of different algorithms, I guess they'd be called, that every one you kind of have to get the cube put in the right spot, and then once you learn the algorithm for that part, then you can do it. I think the way I do it is like 8 steps, I think. So I've gotten this row, this second row too. So once I get the second row, as you can see, this side's still intact. Then I get a cross on top, and I've done that too. So now what I'm going to try to do is get all the middles lined up, and this time they just all lined up for me, so I don't have to work on that. So now I'm going to work on the corners. So now I have all the corners in the right spot. They're not all in the right order, but they're all in the right spot. So then my last step is just to kind of twist them, I guess. I said, there's people who can do it really fast. They can kind of look at it and find how to do it in like 20 moves or 22 moves or, you know, whatever from that last slide that I showed. And even though this guy could solve it in 5.55 seconds, which seems like unbelievably fast, people have made robots that can solve the cube in less than a second. So